Everyone has a story to tell, and I know you do too. But you don't know where or how to start? Imagination Press will help you. Write, edit, and publish your book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Lulu.com, Ingram, as well as helping you reach markets across the globe. Call us today on 301-379-2709 for a free one-on-one consultation, or visit our website and send us an email, imaginationpressonline.com. Again, that's imaginationpressonline.com. Imagination Press is your complete guide to publishing, branding, and promotions. Give us a call today.
Welcome, family, to another edition of T-Limbs Presents The Bridge. I want to send a hello and a shout out to everyone. We ask again that you put your brick in this foundation because it's about you and it's for you. You know something? I was a little sleepy because I kind of changed my little habits up.
Yeah.
I'm going to share this. I'm going to be, for real with you guys. But you know something now? We went to a service that y'all, Don Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
One of the guys that's on one of the Vox Wave programs here. We went to his service today, and he was like a guest. Y'all thought he was at fire here? Man, I thought he was going to blow a gasket. You know something? If I was a doctor, I need to, you know how...
Check his blood pressure.
How Ali get hyped up for a fight, and they have to calm him down?
Yeah.
Coach was going. But
Sure
again, it was a good service. And,
Yes,
and so after the service, we kind of changed our routine. And we went to get something to eat. And man, I had this big giant burger.
From the Double T in Laurel, Maryland.
Some fries and a pineapple juice or whatnot. And I was fine until I went home because to come down here, it wasn't no need for us to come home. But we kind of went home and relaxed for a hot second. I kicked off them shoes.
It was
curtains. Okay, let's go. Jump in the car. We getting ready to ride. We riding down the street. We probably like maybe 15 minutes away. It was tough. It was tough. Itis was on me so bad that something. It didn't even go through the. I didn't even go through the nod stage. It was just gonna knock me right out. But I know, and look, and so I was trying to wake up.
St. Louis burger.
I left off the mushrooms.
I ate them.
Okay, but anyway, I got a bunch of shout outs to send to a couple of folks. First, today's Black Conscious. Hey, you guys, Mento. Excuse me if I get your name wrong, and I'm sorry. I know it's Mento something.
Melanated Minds.
Melanated Minds. So, hey, you guys. Now, sorry, I'll get your name right the next time, guaranteed. I want to send a shout out to our gurus, Ron, Reggie, and Stan that makes this happen. Okay, and something, Anthony in the house. What's up, brother? You know what I mean? Francis, what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Teresa.
No, don't say like Francis. Teresa.
Okay, you say it. I'll move my mouth.
Say it. Teresa.
But anyway, Teresa. Hey. And I'm telling you now, see, baby, look here. we don't want Ron out on the road, so
Ooh.
you better hurry up and get back. So I'm
He said he's gonna bring the Volkswagen. He said he's gonna take the
right.
Volkswagen.
Ron's gonna be on the road. Wait, look, I'm telling you. So okay, Trisha, hurry back. And okay, so
Shout out
okay.
to Shirley.
Oh, hey, Shirley
Shirley
too.
girl.
You know, like I said, so I got a whole bunch of shout outs to say. Oh, hey, to my boy David. Hey, man, knock him dead tonight, man. He's at Lot 3. Go and support him in his group.
Lot 3
David,
where?
in Akron, Ohio.
Oh.
A-Town.
AK.
You know, representing that double trade. Oh, okay, get it, got it, good. Anyway.
OH to a dime. Thanks.
What you say?
You said double tray. Oh. OH and a dime.
Okay, that was my little analogy, Miss Susie Homemaker. Just cause you're sitting in the middle.
No, I'm
JD.
like Moni in the middle.
Just cause
Where
she
at in the middle. Moni in the middle.
There you go with
I don't know what y'all eat today.
I don't, you know something like again, no, you know, so that's how bad it is. What is that game you were saying? The game you were saying, Red Rover.
But guess what? There's a commercial that has it on too.
I ain't never heard no dang on
please.
Red
And we
Rover
went- and we
until
went-
a commercial.
And the grandchildren knew it too. Everybody knew it.
Yeah,
But
she wrote in
say what?
to them people that was making the commercials.
What about them?
You told them about Red Rover.
but
See?
I don't even have
You see why I don't know about no dang on Red Rover? But anyway, speaking of Red Rover,
Only you.
okay, where was I? Oh, my friend David. Hey, man, knock him dead, man. Look, we had some scheduling things, and, man, we couldn't make it. And David Rooker, he's going to be on the show. Dude is my partner in crime, and, like, he's a music extraordinaire.
Bad.
And again,
Bad.
like I said, go check him out. Hey, look, check you out shortly, because, you know, none of y'all business. But anyway, I was going to say something else, but none of their business. You know,
my
so
kidneys.
tune in for, huh?
You said none of my business. I said chew my kidneys.
Not her, y'all.
Talking
wait a
about
minute.
my great grandma used to say,
Y'all.
none of my business, none of your business, chew my kidneys. Sit on the railroad and hoop hoop.
See, that's up there with Red Rover.
I don't know where you were. You were on the wrong block.
Chew my kidney. What did that mean?
Chew my kidneys.
Chew her kidneys.
Dang, what's up?
Good afternoon,
Wait a minute,
folks.
my pistol. Where's my pistol?
Good
Let me get
afternoon.
my stuff together here.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know what's going on over
I
there.
don't know why there. What was in this burger?
One person talking about kidneys, the other one, what's really happening?
So listen.
But anyway,
We're here, right?
yeah, we're here.
We're here.
We're here for you guys. You know something? Oh, no, so you know something? I'm sorry. My man in Cali. I
Dang,
want to say to Cali a shout out.
Yes, sir. Shots fired.
They got insurance on this building, not us. So quit trying to burn us up. Burn, baby, burn. Black power. But anyway, you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. But anyway,
How old do you know I am?
quit shooting a gun. Anyway,
It's a weapon, not a gun. You don't ever call it a gun. It's always a weapon.
I don't know what she had. No, you know, it was something in her orange juice. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. But to my man in Cali, hey, man, I want to send
Straw.
you.
Go on.
To my man in Cali, the Cali fam, I want to send my deepest apologies for using a derogatory expression to express my feelings about the coon bayaders. And like I said, hey, bruh, appreciate you watching and listening and giving us your input. See, that's what we want. We want that interaction. And so, again, in the future, I'm going to refrain from using that word, but you know how it is, man. You know something, it gets, the situation is so important and it is relevant, and we got folks that's out there that's not doing their jobs, and we got folks that's out there that's sitting on their hands, and you know something, and we are beating the bush trying to get the stuff to happen for you. Also, you know something, Voxwave family. Mm-hmm. We need to get together, man, and support each other, because you know something. This is a perfect example of how society is. Vox has how many programs run? 25 programs, and it's 25 separate programs. We don't even support each other. that I know of. But anyway, we need to support each other. And like I said, that epitomizes what goes on. Now, we got all these black organizations and this and that. So, you know, let's come together and do something as a whole. Man, I mean, you know something? The two of us, me and JD could lift this table up. But by myself, I would have a struggle. But anyway, but him and I together, and then we throw Anthony in there.
Okay, young blood.
And then throw Ron in there.
Okay.
Man, we lifting this table up over our head. And guess who's going to be on top of it? The queen. She's the queen to be. Oh, anyway. Okay, I'm done.
I got to do my part.
Okay. Right.
Is that my
Okay, no, I did want to send a shout out to those guys and those people to let you guys know that, you know, we do appreciate you putting your input into this. And again, anybody else out there that have a comment, you know, comment, let us know, contact us at, that's your cue.
Contact us at Connect to the Bridge on Instagram and or
T-Lims.
You can
T-Lims on Twitter. Or
we also
connecttotobridge.com.
a business line which you can call in and connect with us either here or during the show. Is 240-719-2560, and or our personal business line, which is 301-257-9069.
Say it again slower.
301-257-9069 is the business line, and the hotline here for the show is 240-719-2560.
See, that's why I like these guys. They on it. See, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm still suffering from that burgeritis. You can't tell.
So hold on. So
but if I did,
speaking of on it, hold on. I have some things I need to shake off. Okay. Good afternoon, people. Abstract Excellence. It's not here today, but we are here today.
okay, I
So
don't know what that shake.
Yeah.
You know, that's a
I'm
new
gonna tell you
dance.
that.
You know, so
Understand
that's a new
the shake
dance.
No.
The shake,
No.
the shoulders. Do it again.
I was just shaking
That's-
off. That's all I was just shaking.
No. Hey.
Okay.
No.
It's-
No.
So listen.
No. No. No.
So it's
There's
not,
an old Harlem Shake.
It's not news to most of you what happened. Let's say 48 hours ago.
Oh, yeah.
With the young man, 11-year-old young man that got murdered in Southeast DC by a grown 30-year-old man. I'm not completely. I don't think anyone's completely sure of the details of the how or the why, but I think the thing that bothers me is that we continue to try to figure out the why on an 11-year-old kid, kid not even old enough to hold his own sins, and we're trying to figure out the reason for why he was murdered by a grown man. That bothers me beyond belief, but beyond that, we have to figure out something. This can't keep happening. Like we can't keep normalizing the situation. It's almost to the point where it happens and now we just go on and another kid gets killed. We can't keep. Something has to change. So
It bothers you because you're thinking of an 11-year-old being the atypical 11-year-old in your mind. The problem is that what is an atypical 11-year-old today? That's a problem. That's problem number one. That's the big problem. I know some 11-year-olds that run with 19-year-old grown men. We did articles for a magazine last year, and
yeah.
And there was a young man, well, he was an older man when I interviewed him. He committed a crime when he was 12 years old. He committed a murder, but the dudes that he was with were 17, 19, and 20-year-olds. This is back in the day. So the question is, what is an atypical 11-year-old today? So 11-year-old, in my mind, and what 11-year-old should be, isn't always the case. I'm not absolving the individual for shooting the child. I've never absolved anyone cold blood killing anybody, okay? What I am saying is that we need to reassess and reevaluate the place of children, and are they allowed to be children anymore?
that's therein lies. That also was the point I was making. It's not to say that there's a justification either way. It's to say that even if this child was the worst of children in the whole universe. There still is a parent somewhere that needs to.
That's the point where I was going. There's a parent out there that's not doing their job. Now, the chime in.
Hold on, right there. You said there's a parent there that's not doing their job. What if the parent doesn't know their job to do?
Well, okay. You see, now we're going into another
cycle.
We're going into another level because you know something. Again, this, like y'all said, it's a cycle. You know what I mean. So we have to break that cycle, and there are people watching this cycle happen that let it. Now again, I'm gonna jump into this right quick. Just like we was watching, what was it Umar?
Dr. Umar Johnson.
When he was talking about this special education and again, letting these schools set the narrative on our children. Like you said, what is 11-year-olds? Letting them set the narrative of what 11-year-old look like. 11-year-old in their eyes is what they a thug. What they call them a predator. Super predator.
We have oversized grandchildren. Our grandsons are all taller.
They ain't 11.
No, listen. At 11, with the exception of Gabe, yeah, I called your name out, honey. All of them were taller than the average 11-year-old, bigger than the most 11-year-olds old. So people don't see them as being 11 years old. Noah's your height and bigger than you. And Noah is getting ready to be a junior in high school now and still growing. You see what I mean? So when you say 11-year-old, that's another thing too. People don't see our children
as children. But
because all they see
know
is they see the frame, the body, and that's
I
it.
get it because my 12-year-old is pretty much my size almost. So.
But you can still see the kid in him.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Not being biased that you're the dad. You know what I'm saying? You can look at, but see, they're not looking at our children as children. Now, okay, not Trayvon Martin, but what's the dude that got shot up in Cleveland?
Tamir Rice. But that's why I'm against teachers having weapons in classrooms. I'm against teachers having weapons in schools all day, every day. I'm against most police officers being in school with weapons for real, because most police officers don't know how to shoot. I can say that because I know firsthand. The qualifications for the threshold for qualifying for a pistol on the police department is minimal. Hit the target. But hitting the target doesn't mean it's a well-aimed round. You see?
Absolutely.
So that's why you see a lot of, and having a semi-automatic weapon, that's to an advantage and disadvantage. The semi-automatic weapon means that you don't have to really do too much to reload.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Miss ex-police person that you are.
Okay, I am.
When did they outlaw the warning shot?
The
warning shot is like.
That's a good question, actually.
You know what I mean? Now, if you have a gun and I don't, and I hear pow, if I can't to the left or to the right.
Because they automatically aim it.
Exactly.
Warning shots.
Stop. Pow. Oh, he stopped.
Warning shots were outlawed. Remember when Saul Link Jr. got killed at home back in the 70s?
Who?
Saul Link Jr., the kid that got killed downtown. They tore Akron up downtown.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
70s, like maybe 72, maybe 73. It was like that spring.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there was a warning shot that went out. And when that shot went out, everybody started running. The next shot hit him square in the back. He wasn't involved in anything. He was doing like everybody else scattering. It was because of that incident that warning shots were outlawed in our state, in Ohio. Warning shots should never be fired because a warning shot, a round, and we're talking about the law of gravity. What goes up must come down. My friend Paula Kidd was assassinated because someone fired a shot up in the air on one street. She got out of a car on East Avenue, and the round came down and hit her. She was just walking up the sidewalk. So you don't know the velocity, the elevation of that round. So warning shots should never be fired, and it's illegal. Just like the chokehold. Chokeholds are illegal, and that's why this Department of Justice that dismissed that killer of Eric Garner. Every police officer that uses a chokehold should be fired and charged because we're taught. Every police department in America, we're all trained by LAPD. All of us. That's why we can go from one department to the next because we're taught the same thing. The only thing different is the state laws, the state statutes. You learn that particular states and that city, that municipality's ordinances. And I'm talking about like in the early 90s. chokeholds were made illegal. So how does a person get away with killing someone with a chokehold and they dismiss the case? Although they paid the family money, but money doesn't replace Eric Garner. Doesn't replace any part of him or anything.
Wait. How can you be innocent and guilty at the same time?
You can't be.
You can't be.
Yes, you can.
Well, please explain.
Well, I mean, in America, yeah.
That's my answer.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
In America,
Technically,
yeah.
In America.
I mean, so
In this
now
country.
you go to another country and try that. Okay, they chopping stuff off.
Well, if you steal, you won't steal anymore.
Yeah, that's a good deterrent.
If you rape, you will never rape again.
That's a good deterrent.
Very good deterrent. But that's the point that. So locking up. Go ahead.
Okay. Again, this country is so biased
In many ways.
in its laws, and how the system is run. You know, so it's good that Trump is in there, because Trump is showing, or America is showing the rest of the world how flawed they are or how flawed, and I'm going to include myself, we are as a country.
Let me have that fence.
What fence? Oh.
That fence that I have, which fellas, you got to
Well, this brings us to the next part of our show.
Yes.
This.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Wait a minute. Let me do something before you do the fence thing.
Oh, very good. Oh, snap. Yeah. Very good.
For two things, is this familiar? Now, if you're black, you probably used to seeing it like this, and that's not a fence. That's a jail. That's looking out like what we gonna do. But anyway, okay. Anyway, but go ahead.
I'm saying this, and I say this every day, and I don't care if it's something that you like or not, because it's just the truth. Every day, I talk to people who have Medicare and Medicaid, who don't have enough money to get all the medicines that they're supposed to have.
Because I want these dudes
I know
walking
people who
around.
get part
looking.
of their pharmacy prescriptions because they don't have enough money. It's either a choice. I don't know. He's talking about that's that burger. That's that burger.
No, they walk around. You know, that you kind of make it look realistic.
Okay, well then you do that. You do that.
Okay, that's what.
So people don't have enough money to get their prescriptions filled, or even get any part of prescription filled. And of course, I'm not an prescriber of medicines, of any medicine. But if you have to take medicine, it's not as effective if you're only taking part of the medication. Because I'm of the school that some medicines also might solve one thing, but causes 10 other different problems too. So that's a whole different topic. So there are schools, like schools in Baltimore. Last year, 5 schools didn't have heat. The children were sitting in the schools with coats
on. Yeah.
And then in the spring, it was so hot in the school that the teachers brought fans in from their homes, and the fans were so loud, the children missed a lot of the instruction because the condition was such that it was just unbearable to learn. And you said, well, they should have suffered through it. No, because these children are wired differently. You're putting different things inside your food, and you're producing different kinds of children. So don't say that. I'm telling you that. Your food is manufactured a lot with GMOs, and you don't know what's coming in, but what's coming out is that children are wired differently. That's just what they are.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you have prisons that are overpopulated and overcrowded. There's sometimes in Summit County Jail in Akron, Ohio, they serve soup and cold sandwiches. Okay, and the guys that want food have to pay for the food in the Aramac, which has a big contract with these prisons to bring food in. So families suffer because men and women who are incarcerated, you have to buy the T-shirts from the prison. You can't mail a package of T-shirts to them. They need socks. You cannot mail the socks. You got to buy them off a list.
So you saying that you have to use their store basically to buy
pretty much
Yes.
products that who's
So
affiliated with the company.
What if you can't get, what
the
they
prison.
allow you to buy it even if you can't get, so you don't have to go to the prison to buy it.
Oh, you ain't buying nothing from Sears or nothing like that, or
You don't go to prison and pick it out.
Okay.
You get a sheet. That prisoner sends a sheet home to you, and then you check mark what it is and how much, and you send the money in, and then they have their, I don't know what's called, commissary, whatever, and then they
various vendors, but through a commissary.
But those are private-owned vendors who are supporting and supplying.
Isn't that considered like a private?
It is private. It's private.
Yes.
Now, ride with me on this train. So you got this. So that means when the person's locked up, families are incarcerated too because they go broke trying to take care. I'm just a person that if you're there, I can't do anything unless you were there because you killed someone defending yourself. I'm putting it out there, or you're there because you were defending someone else who was going to be killed. But if you do something else on that, I don't. That's just me. Everybody's different. Don't ask me for a phone card. Don't ask me for a pair of tennis shoes. Don't ask me for nothing. You know, if you send a letter, don't ask me for stamps. I know you get 1 stamp a week or something. So if I'm the person to get the letter, yay. But I don't even like writing back because I don't know what to say. There's just so many. You know, I have a convoluted, and not because of being a police officer, just because I see the people going through all these emotional roller coasters when their family members come out of prison, but they're still incarcerated right here. And then because they're incarcerated right here, they end up putting their bodies back incarcerated again. And so that's a whole different topic for a whole different day. So my point to that is that these prisons are privately owned. So taxpayers don't have any control over how the operations or anything, how people are hired. They're all privately owned prisons. And people like the owner of the Detroit Pistons, yeah.
Thought we didn't know, did you?
Yeah. You're moving the Detroit Pistons back into Detroit proper because you're gentrifying the area, moving all the black folks out, and then you turn around and you're taking the money that you're getting from the ticket sales and you're building more prisons. You're also one of the people who own the majority owner of most of the phone companies that are used for the prisons. The Detroit Pistons owner, yeah, you. All of you all season holders of Detroit Pistons, I'd be checking them on site. You shouldn't even buy a ticket. No disrespect to the bad boys, because I love the bad boys, but your owner's foul. He's not the only one. So then you have these private prisons. Then you have people out here in public housing. And like in Kentucky, they don't have any more Section 8 housing. Kentucky stopped their Section 8 housing in 2007, around 2006, 2007, around that time. So they no longer have Section 8 housing.
At all?
At all. No. That's in the state of Kentucky. So that means if you don't live in a project and you don't get some kind of a assist from someplace else, you're living in whatever you can, wherever you can get in.
Right.
And there's a whole lot of slum landlords.
So what type of government assistance is allowed there then?
For housing? Unless you, like I said, unless you live in a project. And live in a project, then that's assisted living. But other than that, there is no Section 8, none at all in the state of Kentucky. It hasn't been that way since 2006. So you live wherever you can live, that's it. So some people live in utter squalor because they're landlords, and some landlords and no one's holding them accountable, okay? Or if the health department shuts that landlord's house down, then you're stuck because there's nowhere for you to go.
Right.
Okay? And people find themselves like that all the time. Landlords don't pay for the properties. They don't pay for the taxes. They let liens get on properties, and then folks who are living in these homes end up being displaced. And the landlord is not accountable.
Nobody's holding them accountable.
No one.
Right.
You can sue them, but then they turn around and say, "Well, I'm bankrupt," and then you're still
stuck.
And you're getting nothing.
Right.
But the thing about it, if that should be the case, that's a criminal offense that they occurred, in my opinion, and they should be incarcerated. But that's a different story because it's a civil matter. It's not. But there's something that's wrong with that. Now, you have people who are veterans who come out military and they can't find housing. Some military veterans are returning citizens. And a person who's a returning citizen can't live in certain neighborhoods, but they have to because they can't afford anything else. They try to get a job, but they can't get a job at this place because although I'm trained for this, I'm a felon, so I can't work at this place. So they end up having to live someplace they can't afford or they can't afford to live anywhere, and they're out on the street. So then you say this person's out on the street, tent cities all over the place. In America, I'm talking about the United States of America. I'm talking about the land of the free and the home of the brave, the land of the free and the home of the enslaved. The land of the free, except for some people like you and me. Talking about this place. So, it ticks me off when I see Elijah, come on, man, Cummings, I'm coming for you today, sir. Get on TV and say, oh, they don't even have this or they don't have that at the border. They're at the border. So this is my story. Rolling around in Baltimore. There's a cat laying there at the bus stop. He's homeless, doesn't have any shoes on, and the sign over him says, Take control of your life. And then it talks about opioid addiction, this, that. Doesn't say anything about crack. You locked everybody up for crack, but everybody opioids. Oh, we got clinics, we got beds. Oh, they're beautiful people. He was a wonderful boy. He just have some problems. No, he's super predator like folks I know that on crack cocaine. How about that? So, lock them up.
Simple,
Just like
right,
that's
yeah.
right.
Right.
Real simple. Let's make I'm an equal opportunity hit. Okay, so you don't cry for that. Don Lemon saw the man and his daughter in the water. He says, I can't watch this. I just can't see. It's too painful. Well, Don Lemon, sir, looking at it forensically, they didn't just wash ashore because that little girl's head was inside of the neck of the shirt with her father. And had they been submerged in the water out at sea, okay, one, their bodies would have been super bloated. Number two, their bodies would have had debris. And number three, she would have shifted a little bit outside from the shirt. They wouldn't have been up real neat, staged up there.
Yeah, the
no.
water
And then that water was too shallow to push them up to that, right up to the coastline. For the weight of that man's body, he never would have been pushed all the way up ashore. If you look at the tide of the water, let's talk science. So you show that on TV, and you got all these dumb legislators running down there to the border talking about people who broke the law, first of all.
For starters.
You left Guatemala, you left El Salvador, you left Honduras, you left all places like Nicaragua, and then you go bursting through the gates at the border of Mexico, and then you come to Mexico, and you get to the border of the United States, and then you go, let me in, you know, political stuff. Last time I checked your government, there's nothing wrong with your government. It's just that you are in an impoverished country. But guess what? America's impoverished too. Look around in Baltimore. Empty streets, empty houses galore. When you're talking about the hood, go down
Homeless.
go to
Hungry.
Sandtown. See, I'm tired. So you all get up there on TV and you cry for all these people who are breaking the law illegally. But here's my concern.
We need a fence.
I'm concerned about the people. You're talking about the people who are on the wrong side of the border trying to get to the border to get access. My concern.
Okay,
no, I got to finish this one out. And your concern
Let her go.
should be solely on one thing, and that's to be concerned about the people on this side of the fence, this side of the border, the people who are here who don't have access. What is wrong with you people? I need to put up on TV every day a gunshot victim in D.C., like the one that got killed here, and they didn't. Or the
11-year-old.
child. I need to put up on every day on CNN. Come on, man, Elijah. Come on, man, Cummings. At least they got a roof over their head. At least they get food. I don't care if you're in a cage. You brought yourself to a place to be encaged. You brought yourself. You had a home. You had a place to stay. You had food. You brought yourself. We watched the Caravan on TV while you're cartooning. Some of you gave your children to people you don't even know. Now, I agree and I admit the United States was stupid by separating the adults from the children. That was just dumb.
Well, they've always been doing that, so that's nothing new.
So don't say that you're going to try to relocate the children because you can't. That was dumb. So you lawmakers, no, you can't do it because the children don't speak English. They don't know who they were traveling with. And their parents are not even trying to claim their children. So who broke the law? Who's wrong? So when I don't cry for it, don't talk about that black people are prejudiced and we're racially insensitive. I want you to have the same kind of tears that I had when I saw a little boy on Carpenter Street who got his head blown off because he wouldn't give oral sex to a grown boy. And he had the teenage boy blow his head.
Ouch.
And then that child's brains was on the teenager who I had to transport. I want you to cry for that. I want you to cry for those 3 girls who got killed in Edgewood years ago. And the one that was in bed with her child, her 4-year-old son, and all the holes that were in her body. And that child was on the scene. When you come on the scene, he was putting Band-Aids on his mom, talking about she had boo-boos. I want you to cry about that. I want you to cry about those children that are going to school that don't have enough money to get a real hot meal, a real
Hungry.
balanced meal, not this processed junk that they're feeding our children that's causing them to have high blood pressure, diabetes, and even some types of cancers with these GMOs, because GMOs are not required to be labeled. You're eating genetically manufactured food every day, and you don't even know because your FDA is not required to tell you.
And government is allowing this. our government is allowing this. Now, to chime in on your point, you see, I laid these cats down. That's supposed to represent the homeless. We got a number of homeless and hungry people in this country. But you know something? Charity begins at home, and then it spreads abroad. But y'all want to help these illegals, these illegal, I want to say illegals, but they ain't legal, but they're illegal lawbreakers. How about that? Or lawbreakers. You want us to bow down and be concerned for them. But what about these guys that live here in the country? That's veterans that have served this country. And, you know, in your own backyard. Y'all can't even serve the people in your own backyard, but you want us to bend the ear and shed a tear for these lawbreakers. They have rights as humans. I understand.
But they don't have any rights as citizens of the United States. They're not citizens.
Exactly.
Dig that. They're not citizens. You got people who being locked up, got out of prison, and they don't even have their right back to the vote.
Exactly. They've served their time.
You did your time. You did the crime. You did time, and you might not have done it.
And they're still not a citizen.
And you still don't have the right to vote. That's not right. I'm sitting here right now, and I'm enraged because there's a young particular veteran. He retired in the Air Force. He lives in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Right now, he's suffering with diabetes. His foot is falling off because he has diabetic neuropathy. They could treat him with the stem cell project that they already told him, but he pays over $4,000 a month for medicines out of his own pocket.
This is a veteran.
But he served his country.
This is a veteran.
He retired.
Right.
He's a vet.
Retired. He retired he retired from the Air Force. And he's a young man because he's in his early 40s.
Retire, they don't take care of you.
I believe that all veterans should be able to go to the hospital regardless of whether you retired or not, whether you served in unless you get VA benefits by pension or disability or retirement, you don't have access to the VA hospitals, which that's so unfair because you might have something that happened to you while you were on active duty and it doesn't manifest itself for years later.
Right, that's why
they still no, they don't. And that's another thing, they don't. But your congressional members can stay in office how many years and then they get
4 years,
free everything for
life. Yeah.
Trump ended up getting all his children appointed positions that he created these spots. You know that for life we're going to have to always pay them money. Mm-hmm. I want to sit and soak a minute. When you think about people that worked 20, 30, and 40 years and what they get, and then someone who works a few years, or should I say who's appointed a few years to a position.
These are homeless in America.
Yes, I have a question, like, as it pertains to, so when you guys join up in the military and you signed it, do they tell you that at the beginning?
They
like,
lied.
Oh, no.
They lied.
No.
Because they lied, because what they tell you is that, I'm putting recruiters on blast today too. Everybody, I'll tell you, I'm equal opportunity hit. Equal opportunity, right?
She wanted to smoke today. She with it.
They tell you, you get free education. You know what they tell you?
Right.
They tell you that you get medical care when you get out. You can go to the VA. You have this access. You can have opportunity to buy a home with no money down. You get paid benefits. With benefits, you get all the medical care, all these different things. Okay, so here's what it is. He joined right after he got Vietnam. So he was right on. But see, didn't you get the GI Bill? Stop it! Stop it!
Oh, did I get? I got the GI.
He got the GI Bill. Stop! Help him!
I just looked away. You said
Help!
Oh. Yeah, I got the GI Bill.
Yeah, see, so the GI Bill was, but you could go to school for 4 years for free, and they paid for your books and all these different things. The problem was that at that time, a lot of people were getting out of the military, and there were still the job sources were starting to leave. The big industries were leaving. The country was in turmoil. It was shifting, and GI benefits were slow to pay. So some cats would go to school and then the money wasn't there on time, or so then they wait and they come to class the first day and then they say, well, Mr. So and So, your name's not on roll because you got to go over. So that's disheartening. So you're dependent on that, and the check wouldn't come to the GI in time. So I came in under this thing called the VEAP, the Veterans Education Assistance Program, which is a CROC, because they paid $2 to my one, but they only gave a total of, I could put in a total of $2,700, and the most money I got for college was $8,100. Now, if you stay in the military 20 years and you got out, say for instance you went in, I started in 78. So if you went in 78, 79, 80, and you did 20 years, and you got out, you're going to use that VEAP, $8,100 when they're not even covered one semester of school.
That's what
I was just, that's
it
what I
was
was
just a
doing in my head.
semester.
I'm
Yeah,
doing numbers in my head, like,
just a semester.
But that's what they did to the veterans. And then they turned around to it, and then they get this new Montgomery GI Bill, which I could not access because I signed in 78. He went in 76, 75. Okay, yeah. So my group, we just got like dumped.
So you
then
okay. So you
then
missed
we
the
were
whole boat.
okay. And then watch this. When we got out, what they did was they were doing this force and strength reduction after the second campaign in Desert Storm, Desert Shield. So they were letting you out of the military, considering you retired at 13, 14 years, or 14-year retirement, okay? But here's the thing. If you get a military check and then you go to a civilian work job and you pay into that Social Security, when you retire from that, you can't collect both checks.
Yep.
You only can collect one. Social Security or your military retirement check. But you paid into it.
Hold.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you these things.
Yeah, young fella.
That's like the bait and switch. Hold on, time.
Oh, it was.
Yes, sir.
I paid it. So
That's right. Tell him, Ron.
So if I didn't signed up and I didn't put my time in the military, I now have to choose between the same thing he gets to get or what I put the time in for. And I don't get both, even though I done paid into both.
You heard me.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah.
That's right. But they don't tell you that at times, so you don't know.
Right.
I knew people that were double difference. They were collecting retirement check. Mr. Kelly, because he was working at Building 1 at Camp Lejeune, and Mr. Norm Kelly, he was getting his retirement check for, I think he was it was the Army Air Corps at the time when he was in, and then afterwards, then they split up to make an Army and then the Air Force.
Air Force,
Okay, so he retired, he got his Army Air Corps check, and then he was working full time. When he retired, he could not get that Social Security check. So he did 20-something years here, 30-something years here, and was relegated to get one check.
One check. Yep. Yeah,
So-
ain't no double dipping.
No. So these are things that, you were told. But that's because the military puts such stress on recruiters. Recruiters have to fill quotas, and they ruin your
Quotas,
career.
yeah. Oh,
if you
absolutely.
and sad part about it, some
Yeah.
areas and sometimes in life, people aren't joining the military. But that recruiter is held to put people in at least 4 a month or sometimes 5, depending on their recruiting substation.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, what they would do, they would relieve you from duty, and then that would mess up your career, which is so unfair. See, me, I could never be a recruiter. I was a drill instructor. I knew from the start, I don't sell nobody nothing. I'm not a salesperson. And I'm not the person to do that phone call and stuff. If you tell me that you don't want it, hang up. And they have to do cold calls and all that stuff. I'm a person, this is the product, this is what I got. Do you want it or not? You say no, okay, I'm good, I'm done. I'm not going to say, but you really should. No, I'm not doing that, I'm done. But now if you get them there and bring them to me, I can train them. Oh, I can train you. Once you get to me, I can teach you, I can train you.
Now,
But,
here's where we differ. Not saying that I would be a recruiter, but judging from what prompted me to go in, during the time, a lot of jobs were leaving. A lot of the rubber companies were leaving the area. Now, I had little penny ante, jobs, because I was playing sports and whatnot. So, again, being without a father or a mother, my choices were limited.
Right.
Initially, I tried to do the school thing, but you know, not having that proper counseling or structure, as you said, you know, I don't know what's going on. So the best thing for me to do was to go, and it was at peacetime. So the best thing for me to do is to go in. I can go in. My plan was to go in, learn a skill, and go to school at the same time. But as I got in, I didn't know who to ask. How do I get into school and that type of thing? So basically, to kill two birds with one stone. But now I say, if you have a similar upbringing and you're not sure what you want to do, I think it would be good for any young man. I'm a little straddled on the fence about women because I saw a lot of women lose their femininity. They get in there and they turn into seriously G.I. Janes, and you know, some of them was harder than the men. But you know, but again, for a young man, it gives you some discipline. It gives you some structure. It gives you, like say, you could use some of the GI Bill stuff. You know what I mean? So it gives you options. You know what I mean? But you got to go in there.
That's true.
Well,
That's true.
okay. So
Okay.
again, now on that, Ron.
Here's a question.
Yeah, what was
A combat MOS is combat is a person who's a tanker, a person who's artillery, a person who's a rifleman, a person who's a mortar man, anyone in infantry.
Basically, okay, gotcha.
But it depends on which branch. Now, see, now again, now
You
me.
didn't do combat.
Okay, that's what I'm getting to. Let me talk.
Good view, huh?
Okay, now, you know something. Now, Marines are crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't mess with
say it
them.
one more time.
Marines are crazy.
Oh!
See,
Say it one more time.
Marines are crazy.
Hey, Ross, dog. Semper Fi. Jarhead leather. Next.
Do I need to say anything? See,
They say that in the Marine Corps, the chicken's mighty fine.
guess what?
Well, one jumped off the table
She
and
didn't take her
started
medicine.
marking time.
I don't have my phone because I got it on 911.
What branch
But
were you in?
Yeah.
I was in the Air Force.
Don't tell.
What?
How you see how late he is.
What? Anyway, as I was saying,
Continue, Zoomy.
the Marines are.
Ow! We represent very well.
The Army is. Don't believe the hype.
What?
I'm not waking up at no dang on 5 o'clock in the morning with no
5?
60-pound
Ron,
back
we didn't wake
on
at
my
5 in the
back
morning. We
to
were
go over here
We were
for
early-
what?
Earlier than 5:04.
Army.
Hurry up and wait.
That's what it was.
Every-
You all had Reveille at 5? We had Reveille at 4. Oh my.
Okay. See, y'all see what I mean?
Ah.
Okay.
Really?
Now, the
5?
Navy, that's too much
For
water
real?
to drink. What you say?
5?
Yeah, why is that?
Oh,
we got up to
dang.
5 too.
You all don't count.
What
But
you mean we don't count?
you all have dining facilities. You all have people busting your tails. You all have people cleaning your child
Because
trays.
we have prestige.
You all have had barracks that had alcohol vending machines.
What you say?
Yeah, when I went in the Air Force, the dudes in the Air Force, they had beer machines in their barracks. Yes,
Where
they
was
did.
this at?
Lowry Air Force Base. They thought you knew.
That's probably why they didn't send me there. But anyway, I ain't never seen that. But like I said, the Navy, that's too much water to be trying to drink.
Did you all have squad base?
Who? Did we do what?
Did you all have squad base?
Squad base.
My point.
What the hell is squad base?
Squad bay.
Squad bay.
Didn't you have squad bays?
We had bays. That was a damn squad bay. They trying to set me up, y'all. I'm not going for
Ron,
it.
tell them what a
I
squad
was
bay is.
getting going on.
A squad bay is where you sleep. It's
Yeah, 'cause I was about to say
That's where you
we know what
sleep.
it is.
Well, we called it something else. Hell.
no. The squad bay is one big room.
Headquarters.
Okay, we had quarters.
We had
Yeah.
some of us had
Okay,
quarters, but we
squad
also had
quarters.
No, it's not the
What you
same.
mean, though?
A
What you mean
squad-
it's not the one big room where you got a bunch of hard legs sleeping, right?
That's a squad bay.
That's a quarter.
Ting.
Again,
dong.
again, we stayed in dorms. They stayed in barracks. We call them dorms. They call them barracks.
We stayed in the field.
They stayed in the
shelter
field.
half, right, with the chiggers out there, and you have to put,
You know,
put
but
stuff on and make
well,
sure
see,
you don't
that's
get
like I
bit.
said. We didn't march with no packs on our backs. We did have
We
to
did
march
too.
everywhere.
Alice pack with the M16.
Okay,
Did you all have a?
who twisted your arm? Nobody.
You
Who
all-
twisted
you
your
all-
arm?
you all-
Nobody.
you all
Who
had
twisted my arm?
M14s, right?
Nobody.
You all had M14s, right? What you have? So you had 16? Okay, so we had 16.
14s came out. I mean, as
You
far
don't-
as what you mean? That's what.
Say what else? But I knew. Well, hold on, because in the Marine, when you're on rifle team for the military,
Right.
They fire with M14s.
Okay,
And they're
we
bigger
use
and they're heavier.
M16s.
Yeah. So M16, and we had M16 A1s and A2s.
Okay, good for y'all.
So what were you saying about the Navy and not drinking water? I was trying to hear.
The Navy is like I said, you on a ship with a whole bunch of hard legs for 6 weeks, and again.
I don't know what y'all do with this show today. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna come back and look at this one for sure.
No.
At least 3-4 times. Yeah.
But exactly. I mean, we're joking, here and there, but
it's great information, but they got different stuff going on over here.
But like I said, I mean, the Navy. Now, this is just for me. Y'all choose your own thing. Like I said, it didn't make sense for me to go to the Navy for the water and the hard leg reason. It didn't make sense for me to go to the Army. For one thing, they didn't have my MOS.
What?
And in the Army,
What was your MOS?
electronics.
I know you couldn't join Marine Corps with that, so I don't know.
Okay, well, I wasn't planning on joining the Marine Corps, so I'm not,
You ain't get a lesson bonus of $2,500.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Tell them around the bonuses.
Okay. See, that's dangling the carrot, Ron, and
Signing your life away.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not letting them have that much control over
a
me.
bonus means, like, if you sign up the military and you sign up for this particular career, they give you money off the front, like a big bonus. Different bonuses for different MOSs. MOS is a military occupational specialty, which is your job.
Okay.
So
Or the skill that might not necessarily be your job, but what they train you to do. Because sometimes you can be trained to do one thing and then be assigned something
do
totally
something
different.
else.
I didn't hear that part. I heard 2,500. That's all.
right. You said, "Show me the money."
So the 2,500 in time. I got you.
But in this era, I have a question. I guess this is a question I'm trying
Hold
to
up.
ask. Go ahead.
Are we done with the fence analogy? Because I had some more to add to it. But if I wanted to,
finish. No, I'm taking care of the people around on my side of the fence. Go on, finish up.
okay. Well, I mean, so we spending.
That's all I'm crying
We're
for.
spending all this money for a fence for some illegal people. Well, let me put the fence over here, because this is homeless people in America. And I don't know about these people over here, but we need to take care of these people first. These are veterans. These are people. You know something? They've made it in some states illegal for a group to feed the homeless.
Yeah.
But they ain't doing shiggity for the homeless. They ain't doing shiggity for the veterans. But they turned around and made it a law for you or me or you or anybody else to feed them.
Yeah,
To
sometimes
do
you
something
have-
that they're not doing, but they want to take this money out your pocket, my pocket, all of our pockets, and feed these. Well, if they doing something illegal, that makes them a criminal. I'm not saying they're all criminals, but if you're over here illegally, if you break the law, you're a criminal.
This is why you're a criminal, because you're right here. Because you broke the law.
Because you broke the law.
To enter Mexico.
Exactly.
To get here.
Exactly. My point.
See what I mean?
My point. Go on.
So-
I'm done with the fence. But anyway.
Now, I had a question in reference to so when y'all signing up, like he said, he took the 2,500. How is it they keep trick? Like, who's in charge of veteran affairs? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, there's nobody fighting for you guys at all. Well, these things continue.
Man, it's about numbers. It's about numbers. And again, and like she had mentioned earlier, quotas. Recruiters have a certain quota that they have to achieve every month. Now, during the peace times, they kind of expect expected, that the enlistment would go down. But during war times, and what they're doing now is, this is one of the reasons why they brought the draft back, because the numbers were so low that should something happen,
train people.
we need personnel. So now, once you turn 18, you have to register. So now they have a kitty that they could.
That's selective service now. But I'll get this and I'll let you get back to that. For you women livers, for all you feminists and you feminazis and all you women that triple or something, I don't know what. First of all, I don't believe in feminism in the typical definition that you all say, because the things that you all are talking about, we have always been doing and didn't need a title for any of the part of it. So why aren't you all out here saying we need to sign up for the draft too? Huh?
Good point.
Why not?
Hey. One more time. One more time.
Why not?
Right.
That's the
Why
truth.
ain't y'all?
That's the
Why
truth.
aren't you? I stood up on that one.
You want everything
Good
else.
point. Right.
Listen, it's funny.
So I have not heard
Right.
not
But
one.
she's got a valid point,
I have
man.
not heard not one
Not
woman.
one.
Not one. Oh, we want to do this.
We
want to
be equal.
Well, sign up.
Until
I want
that
your
time
7,
jump up on the
but it's
curve.
not even 18.
Right.
It's 17.
Exactly.
At 17 years old, they got to sign up. Because I remember some of my students, 17 years old. 17.
Wow.
So why aren't your 17-year-old daughter signing up? Just tell me that. I don't care if you transgendered, misgendered, cisgender, whatever. 17, everybody sign on the dotted line.
Right.
Now the only people that it doesn't matter as far as the draft is the Marines, because Marine Corps never draft anyone, never will. We don't do the draft. Every Marine had to volunteer from 1775 on up to today. Marine Corps is the only branch of service that doesn't draft. Marine Corps is the only branch of service you got to ask to get in and get picked to step. But it's the smallest branch of service, but that's because we have a very specialized assignment, right? So I mean, everything's inside, but all branches of service need each other. So I'm not trying to, we hear us kicking the bobo and stuff, right? But we all, we all need each other.
What made you choose the Marines?
A sorry recruiter.
You see, when she was little, no, I'm just playing.
See, he can say it because he knew me when I was little. That's okay. That's all right, buddy.
We was playing Red Rover.
I know you didn't get on one day, but
We was playing Red Rover, and she tried to come through the line, and it didn't work out
I always
well.
got through. I always got through. You couldn't hold me because I always kept thinking, when I would run, I always think somebody's trying to kill me. That
But
was
you
in
know
my
something
head.
now,
So I
a lot
went
of
through.
people join it. It's a way of testing yourself. You know what I mean?
Marines
And
is clearly, I mean, the Wyverns, assuming I wonder what would make her choose them. She said it was a private recruiter, but
Oh, the Army recruiter was sorry. He was a sorry dude, and I didn't have to go in the military because I already got scholarship stuff to go to school and stuff, and I was in school at the same time.
yeah.
I was graduated from high school young,
okay.
and still had eligibility to play high school sports, and was not allowed to leave the state because my father would not want me to leave the state to go to the schools that had said that they would accept me. So I hung out this extra. What I did was I took behavioral science. I took health, which I didn't do because all I did, I graded your papers. The coach had me grade your papers with people. I made your tests and graded your papers because it's like, I had more credits. I didn't need any more credits. And I took Hebrew. So then after was at Akron U, and I would go take classes, and then I'd come back, and participate in sports like that. But, yeah, so the Marine Corps was a more logical choice given my personality. Not saying the Army, wasn't a grueling type of thing, but the Marine Corps just that
The
edge.
challenge.
Yeah, that edge above. And then I was able to go to school while I was in the military too. But see, that's the difference too. I didn't have a combat MOS that required me to not be able to go to school. So I had some cats that were going to school that were in the military, that were in the Marine Corps, had combat MOSs. And I helped them facilitate their education because I was
I
an
don't
education
think
NCO.
your father would have let you, knowing your brain. I don't think your father would have let you, and knowing what he experienced as far as the service, would let you go into a combat MOS, because something, you had too much up here, and you need to be in something with blacks when they join, they geared us towards the front line. You know what I mean? And so.
But let me say something to that too. The Marine Corps didn't allow women to, in no branch of service at the time, let women be in combat MOSs. There were women who served in combat, but they worked in other specialties. So supply, nurses,
admin, something of that
women
nature.
did. So make no mistake, there were. But as far as the intelligences, and that's the misnomer, some of the smartest men I've ever known in my life were not the astrophysicists and the neurosurgeons. They were those cats that were riflemen, mortarmen, machine gunners, tankers, because it takes a special amount of skill to learn how to survive. And so, but what they did in the military, they try to make it, they try to make it seem like only our least brightest guys do this job. No, because if they don't get their job done, there's nobody else to be able to do anything. There isn't anything else.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And I worked at the infantry school. I worked at the infantry training school at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune, out there, Camp Geiger. And I gave a lot of guys assignments and stuff. And I didn't assign them the way they wanted me to. They wanted me to assign them, of course, the CO score, the MM score, the L score. What I do is I would just look, and I would look at their SRB and look where they're from. And then I would check their addresses and see, well, what neighborhood. I look at the zip codes. You used to be able to look at the postal locator to see the zip codes. Okay. And if a guy was from an area that I knew was just a little too soft, even though he had this high score, no, I'm not putting you in this assignment, because I need somebody who's going to be tough and nobody's going to be able to have that mettle, you see.
Compton.
Well, I had a lot of fellows that can, and I gave them, and I put them on Marine barracks duties, some real prime duties, these cats, because I knew that they had what it took, regardless of what that paper said. Fortunately for me, and it is fortunate for me, no one ever went back behind my work, and the call was the right call, because those fellas never let me down. What more important, they didn't let themselves down.
Right, I was about to say they, yeah.
So,
Well, see,
yeah,
you-
because I would tell them, listen, this is what you're scoring. You're not supposed to be this, not supposed to be here, but I'm putting you here because I think that you can do it.
But see, you were more conscious, whereas again, like I said, in our era, Ron, and beforehand, they weren't that conscious. You got drafted or you enlisted, you automatically went.
Well, women think differently
Infantry.
too, though. But see, also too, this is the thing.
You know what I mean?
But women think differently than men. I mean, I know. I think a lot like most guys do. Many guys do. That's how I'm wired. I do.
You had the kind of the best of both worlds,
Yeah.
because you had you being a lady, and then I'm not saying a doting father, but a father that taught you, and he didn't
He was
accept
in the military
anything
too,
less
right,
from you.
He was in the army.
He was in the army. Yeah,
He was
he
in the
didn't
army. He jumped
accept
out of
anything less
helicopters
from her, and he made you do things that, let's say, for instance, maybe you didn't want to do. Let's say, for instance, like, but he was telling you things for your own good that benefited your future.
Yeah,
like
I'm a girl
the
who
stock thing, and you know what I mean. When you got out,
Remember your
go
black-
and see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
can't forget that one. When you
Yeah.
told me that.
Yeah.
every day,
Every
yeah,
day.
yeah, exactly. So
I was going to a private school, and I was going to a private school, and then we had moved from, a lot of people won't say this, but I can say this because I'm proud of my ancestors and what they did. Back in the day, black people in Akron could only live on two sides of town, east side or the north side. And east side, there was Ardella Homes, which was a project area, and the north side, you had Elizabeth Park.
Yep.
And even though your parent might have had a good job, this is where you lived. And so when I was born, we lived in the projects, like 176, something like that on East North Street. And so to see the progression and leave from there to go to another street on the north side, my parents bought a home, my parents split up. We ended up moving on top of the hill on the opposite side of town to the west side, where they were already there on the west side. And then from there, we ended up out in Copley Township in the suburb, past the circle, wherever you could count them. The blackest thing out there.
blacks wasn't out there yet.
The pavement was black.
Right, for real,
So,
though. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but the fact is that every day when I got out of school, I was still back in the neighborhood.
Right.
You see what I mean? My mom worked downtown, so when I got out of school, I would walk from where I went to school to where our parents worked.
Right.
And then his mom used to give me $1. And I would go across the street to a place called Cupie's. And I would get a Cupie burger, a fry, and a drink. And then I'd come back and bring her change. This is true.
She also always tell us she didn't have no dollar.
Because she gave it to me.
I know, I'm just...
That's another topic. I know we ain't got time for that.
And change that. Yeah, it changed that. Yeah, it changed.
Both of them sat up, golly.
Yeah. And then I would do my homework with it. And then afterwards, I would walk down the hill, walk down the projects with all my friends and everybody else and relatives and stuff too. But I had to always remember I was black.
And who told you that?
My dad.
Okay, then.
That.
Yeah.
And I heard that from him every day. Whether he was at work when I was moving around or whether he was there when I leave or drop me off at school. Period.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a question, you know. So my point and our point totally is there's a couple things I guess our point today is always remember where you came from because someone provided for you so you can be there and from there you were here. And you didn't get here because you're brilliant, you're smart, and all this. I don't care. You can see all these accolades, all these things, these titles mean nothing.
Somebody paved the way for you.
I know the relatives of mine that never went to school. I know the relatives of mine that did go to school. I know the ones that didn't finish school. And I know the ones that cleaned houses. I know the ones that are also judges, too. But I know the ones who cleaned the houses, walked to work. I know them. And I know the sacrifices that they made so that we could sit here today. Your mom sacrificed. Your mom sacrificed. Yeah. Your parents sacrificed. Your parents, Ron, sacrificed. Somebody, aunts, uncles, cousins, somebody. So their sacrifices built this country.
Sacrifice for us.
Built this country. Yeah. So we're not appreciative of someone else eating off of what they built when you still have people here whose ancestors built and can't access what's here. We're not saying that you shouldn't be compassionate, but compassion first starts at home. Now, we did have some guests that were born in here today. It was Talib Saber and David, I can't even, what's his name? David Garvin? Okay, I apologize. David Garvin Jr. So if you go to Humboldt Clothing or Humboldt Initiative online, you can find out more about them. But we hope that we'll see them real soon. But in the meantime, in between time, we have ran out of time.
Unification, unify
walk the
all
walk
these
this
groups.
Week. Walk the walk this week is unity. And unity starts in the community.
Very good.
And I'll see you guys Sunday for Abstract Excellence.
And on everything else, Ron, take us home.